Welcome back, everybody. Kim and I are so excited to welcome you to the final in our video series. This is video number 5 for the Heartmath approach to everything that you want to do. To establish coherence, to reduce stress, to become more mindful, more self-aware, increase your conscious point in your mind and your state of consciousness. And so Kim has selected some important videos for us to watch. I can't wait to see them, and we'll have time to talk and process this afterwards in this video as well. So take it away, Kim.
All right, welcome everybody, and here we go.
We did an experiment here at Heartmath to study how the information flows between the heart and the brain. And we actually discovered something quite remarkable, something that surprised us. The participants in the study were connected to various sensors to measure their brain waves, their heartbeats, and so on. And then they were exposed to various images. Some were high arousal, like a car crash or a snake striking, while others were low arousal images like bunny rabbits and nature scenes. The participants were asked to push a button. They then saw a blank computer screen for 6 seconds. The computer then randomly selected one of these photographs that it displayed for 3 seconds. After that, the screen went blank for 10 seconds. They were prompted to push the button again, and they repeated this protocol about 30 times. When we analyzed all the data, the results were astounding. The heart seemed to know the images before the participants ever saw the images with their eyes. The future picture was going to be one of the emotionally arousing ones. The heart rate started to drop about 5 seconds before the image was randomly selected to be shown on the screen. So nobody could know what this future picture was going to be. The heart had a much greater deacceleration than if it was going to be a calm picture. These results have since been replicated in many different independent labs around the world, actually. Well, a lot of people say that I don't feel it in my heart, I feel it in my gut. But here's what's really happening. The information comes to the heart first. The heart then sends a different signal to the brain, which we can measure. Then you have a brain response, and then a body response. And with the body response, like the feeling in the gut or the hair on the back of the neck, is where it becomes conscious. But the real flow of information is heart, brain, body. And this is all happening many seconds before the actual event occurs. So what this body of research is telling us is that the heart seems to be connected to a type of intuition that is not bound by the limits of time and space. But what is that source of intuition? What is the heart connected to? And how can we learn to tap into more of that?
The importance of resilience. Most people want to have more energy at the end of the day. How much resilience we have plays a big role in that. Resilience commonly is thought of as the ability to bounce back after a challenging situation, but a newer and broader definition has emerged. Heartmath defines resilience as the capacity to prepare for, recover from, and adapt in the face of stress, adversity, or challenge. When you are resilient, not only can you bounce back faster after challenging situations, but you also have more ability to avoid getting in those situations in the first place. Now that's energy efficient. Being resilient is like having a fully charged inner battery. You have greater capacity and ability to remain calm, think clearly, and be in control of your mind and emotions. You can roll with the punches more easily and flow through challenges, like a surfer skillfully riding a big wave rather than getting wiped out. His inner poise and balance help him succeed. There are 4 primary areas of resilience: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. We expend and renew energy in each area every day. If we have low energy in one area, it can affect the others. It is the emotional area where most people drain their inner batteries unnecessarily and waste energy. You can build and sustain your resilience by learning and using energy management skills. With practice, you'll increase your resilience and have more energy reserves when you need it most, such as maintaining your cool or ability to focus when too much activity and information is coming your way too fast. In other words, the greater your resilience capacity, the greater your ability to maintain your composure and stay in charge of your emotions and actions. A more scientific term for this is self-regulation. As it turns out, there's a direct connection between what the heart is doing and our ability to self-regulate. The heart rate of a healthy, resilient person actually changes with every heartbeat. This is called heart rate variability, or HRV. HRV is influenced by our emotions. You can actually see if you're draining or renewing your energy and self-regulation capacity by looking at the pattern of HRV, your heart rhythms. Emotions such as frustration, impatience, and anxiety deplete our energy reserves and show up on a computer monitor as an irregular, disorganized HRV pattern. Scientists refer to this type of heart rhythm pattern as being incoherent, a sign that the brain and nervous system are out of sync. This is like driving a car with one foot on the accelerator and the other foot on the brake at the same time. Who would want to do that? It makes for a very jerky car ride, wastes gas, and puts extra wear and tear on a car. On the other hand, renewing emotions like appreciation, courage, and compassion create a more ordered, harmonious pattern, indicating the brain and nervous system are more in sync. Scientists call this a coherent heart rhythm. When you are in a coherent state, you are increasing your resilience and ability to manage yourself. That adds energy to your inner battery. Here's the bottom line. Scientifically speaking, when we are in a coherent state, the neural signals the heart sends to the brain improve the functioning of brain centers involved in decision-making, creativity, and how we perform. No wonder so many elite athletes, military and law enforcement personnel, and others want to get into a coherent state these days. Practicing Heartmath's resilience-building tools and technologies helps stop energy drain and builds up our energy reserves and resilience. It's what Heartmath calls intelligent energy management.
So now that we've completed the entire Heartmath experience and you've gotten a sense of the power of intuition and how fascinating it is that the heart tunes in before we actually visually experience something, in addition to appreciating the benefits of these tools and how they can impact resilience and overall optimization of your mental and emotional health as well as your physical health. So this actually comes from the Heartmath experience. The heart has become a scientifically proven source of intelligence. It communicates an amazingly wide spectrum of information from health and wellness functions to higher qualities like wisdom and compassion. The world we are experiencing today is the result of our collective consciousness. And if we want a new world, each of us must start taking responsibility for helping create it. So ultimately, everything does come down to personal responsibility for what you're thinking, your actions, your behavior. Everything is frequency, everything is energy. And we've learned that through some of the greats like Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, and so many others. This is quantum physics. So there's a wonderful quote from Einstein. And that leads me to Dr. David Hawkins, who is, he passed a couple of years ago, but renowned in the field of kinesiology and quantum mechanics and consciousness. And he created this map of consciousness, and he basically drew a numerical correlate to emotions. And it's pretty amazing because the Inner Balance, the software by Heartmath, they have several programs. They've got the Inner Balance, which is the handheld and also the games multi-level user platform. And so what they're measuring is basically, you can see on this map of consciousness. So when you're red on the software, that means that you're in the lower frequencies. You're either in fear, frustration, guilt, regret, shame is in the basement, as you can see. And these are all causing nervous system chaos. They're causing irregular heart rate variability. They're shutting down parts of your brain. That's called cortical inhibition. And they generally make you feel crappy because you're pumping approximately 1,400 biochemicals, with the lead being cortisol and adrenaline. That does a lot of wear and tear on your body as well. And that level of inflammation can trigger any type of illness. So there's really an incentive in paying attention and tuning in to what you're thinking on a regular basis, because these low frequency thoughts serve nothing other than just to hurt you. And so what we know also is, on the flip side, up in the higher quadrant, enlightenment, peace, joy, love, reason, acceptance, I'd add things like compassion, dignity, confidence, all of those, high frequency emotions actually counterbalance with DHEA, which is called the happy hormone or the vitality hormone. And it's about a 400 biochemical cocktail. And, DHEA is the Mac Daddy, but underneath it are things like serotonin, norepinephrine, oxytocin, all the feel-good, dopamine, all the feel-good chemicals. So basically, when you're up there, you'd be green on the Inner Balance software. And so this is almost like an opportunity for you to have a gauge for your internal temperature. So not only is it a part of entrainment, but it's also a means to know when you're depleted, and where you can intervene on your own behalf and start to support by building capacity. So we know that depleting emotions do all of these bad things, right, to our body. And we also know that renewing emotions do all these great things to our body. So, clearly it's a no-brainer to want to, start to practice these tools, because they're only going to support your ability to emotionally self-regulate, recoup, build resilience, and, overall feel like you have an internal locus of control, because we cannot control people, places, and things. And so this actually does give you the capacity to do that. So we can see, again, in real time, what's happening is when you're in that physiological alignment, and they call it coherence at Heartmath. It's also known as the zone for athletes, the vortex, if you're familiar with Abraham Hicks, the flow state, if you're into biohacking. Everybody's got a different name for it, but that level of alignment, again, puts you in the higher frequencies. So in terms of the quantum physics piece, just like water meets water at its own level, energy meets energy at its own level. And so the incentive is taking responsibility for your thoughts, because knowing full well that they're either supporting you, you're either depleting or renewing in your physiology, but it's also your matching point for the universe. So if you start, maintaining the higher frequencies by directing your focus to things like gratitude, appreciation, compassion, care, you actually start to create new neural circuitry in your heart brain, which becomes the new default setting out of the negativity bias in the brain. This is just another kind of explanation. And this is the negativity bias. So, things like New Year's resolutions, everybody wants to change. Everybody wants to, live a better life or be a better version of themselves. As a matter of fact, for most people, from the time you wake up in the morning, you're immediately thinking, I'm here and I should be here. And it's an way to start the day. And it is just the way that we're wired. We have this negativity bias in the brain. It's the egoic aspect that basically is antiquated. It still sees everything as a threat as big as the saber-toothed tiger. So that's the GPS system that we're all following until we wake up to the reality that there's another way. And this was a huge part of my journey, both personally and professionally. After going through significant trauma, I literally found this platform to rewire my brain, and it was so effective. And just even being able to tune into the fact that it really wasn't even that personal, it's just neural circuitry. So, you know, keeping your focus in those higher frequencies is basically a part of the repatterning process. And just knowing that you're going to experience resistance, that when you engage in a process like this, resistance is a part of it. And the negativity bias tends to get amplified because it's doing its job in keeping you safe. The brain interprets any kind of change as danger, even if it's going to benefit you. So we have to do a manual override. Don't believe everything you think. Exactly. We have two choices: continue to blame the world for our stress, or take responsibility for our own reactions and deliberately change our emotional climate. It's very easy when you've had adversity and trauma throughout your life to blame the world, to blame others, but it doesn't serve, because one, you're vibrating at that frequency. Two, you also are not giving yourself the opportunity to transcend this emotional state through these tools and techniques. I love this. This is a Cherokee proverb from a grandfather and his grandson, and the grandson comes to him and says, "Grandfather, I feel like I have two wolves living inside of me. One is good, it is joy, it is love, it is humility, it is benevolence, empathy, kindness, compassion, truth. But the other one is evil, angry, envious, regretful, greedy, arrogant, egoic. It lies, false pride, inferiority, and superiority. Grandfather, which wolf will win?" And the grandfather says, "The one you feed the most." So what we now know with neuroscience is that, you know, reliving experiences, and we're all, you know, wired as a society to complain, right? And so when you have the capacity to see everything as, is this supporting me or is this actually hurting me? And it's all about that. So if any of your thoughts are in any of the, you know, the black wolf, I call him, you just want to shift it over to the white wolf. It's as simple as that. It's just knowing full well that the black wolf does not support you in any way, shape, or form. But whenever you experience the black wolf, it's just an indicator that you need to shift over to the white wolf. It's all about atrophying by focus. So the more you focus in the higher frequencies, the more neural circuitry that you're creating in your heart brain, and that becomes your new default, as I said. But it's also, you know, you're literally rerouting out of the negativity bias, and you're in full cortical facilitation. So you're accessing areas of the brain, your intuitive knowing, your instinctual knowing. You become a master of your life when you learn how to control where your attention goes. Value what you give your energy and time to. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Your diet is not only what you eat, it's what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, the people you hang around. Be mindful of the things you put into your body emotionally, spiritually, and physically. If all you did was look for things to appreciate, you would live a joyous, spectacular life. The universe is not punishing you. It is not blessing you. It is not controlling you. The universe responds to the vibration you're creating. Think happy and happiness will come to you. Think negatively and negativity will come to you. What we put out into the universe, we will get back like an echo. This is a true story because of the electromagnetic field that goes out from our heart. So when we are in love, and I don't just mean in love physically with somebody, but I'm talking about just having the experience of being love. We literally are radiating that toroidal field that's contributing to the morphic field that we're all connected to. And same thing, shrunken when you're in fear, and everybody feels it. Self-care is how you take your power back. No downside to self-care. It creates self-respect, it builds self-esteem, it actually gives you endorphins when you check off your self-care to-do list. And it is all about self-love. It's a skill, and like all skills, the more often we practice at it, the better we get. It's a discipline. I call it a blisscipline because it's a discipline that, if done regularly, creates bliss. So the smallest of disciplines practiced every day start an incredible process that can change our lives forever. And I just love this. Love is the solution. Meditation is the solution. Forgiveness is the solution. Consciousness is the solution. A small act of kindness is the solution. Realizing our power is the solution. Taking deliberate action is the solution. You are the solution. And this is really interesting. So I know a lot of people have heard about the 10,000 hours piece. If 10,000 hours actually, makes you, quote, an expert. That came from Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers. What the history of people that have been successful, and what are the factors that make people successful. So they have determined through science that it takes approximately 400 repetitions to create a new neural synapse in the brain, unless it's done with play, in which case it takes about 10 to 20 repetitions. And so what's so cool about this is that actually, when you're in coherence, that is, a state that happens when you're playing, when you are creating, when you are absorbed in something that you are really enjoying. So it actually makes everything more efficient. It makes your capacity to learn, and that's directly affecting, obviously, cortical facilitation. So very cool stuff. It's almost like you're given permission here, instead of hustle, 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 which is old paradigm, which a lot of people get addicted to stress and anxiety, instead to weave in, as an energy management system, all these different activities throughout your day, weeks, that will be building capacity, recharging your battery, and again, creating new neural circuitry in your heart brain. So I am a huge fan of play. And I'm also a huge fan of meditation, which it works in conjunction with the Heartmath tools in getting into coherence. Meditation, they have found, they've done so many studies now, that even different types of meditation affect different areas of the brain, and it's all positive, it's all supportive. And there's all sorts of ways to hack into the meditative state, because it's actually a theta brainwave state. So this is some really cool stuff that I share with all of my clients, and that I've explored over the years, that, it's not just sitting still and trying not to let your thoughts hijack you. It's actually, there's a multitude of ways to tap into that state, and it can be an amazing experience that you gift yourself with. The other piece that I find incredibly supportive is EFT, which is also known as tapping. It works on the meridian system just like acupuncture does, ancient, incredibly effective at rerouting out of that reptilian part of the brain, the amygdala. So it's a wonderful intervention that I suggest people also utilize as a part of like a self-care syllabus. That's what I do with my programming when I work with people, is, do a custom self-care syllabus. But this is, in essence, there's a ton of science behind tapping now. And it's such an easy hack. You can do it anywhere, and it really does work. And the other piece is, because so often we experience autonomic dysregulation, which basically means that our autonomic nervous system gets hijacked with our low frequency thoughts. And so aromatherapy is such an awesome hack, because it goes directly to the limbic system in the brain. Olfactory is your strongest sense. And so it's one of the biggest pieces in my programming. I'm a huge fan of high-grade essential oils and all different types of plant medicines to support your, sustaining the higher frequencies. And also there's protocols for different, illnesses and maladies that it really supports. So, and it's pleasant if, you love the smells. Obviously everybody's, like a thumbprint individual with that. We are all in this together. 'Tis true. We all have a responsibility to ourselves and to each other. And that's my final.
Oh, Kim, that was so nourishing.
Aw.
Thank you. I'm basking in a lot of those, not just the bits and pieces of information, but the imagery and just this idea of what's possible. We are limitless. Human beings are limitless beings.
So true.
We can, right? We can create anything, any world we want to live in. And this timing of our offering, of the two of us together to share your gifts and your knowledge and the work of Heartmath and the blending that you do in your program work to offer people this endless openness to tap into more of their potential. It's so perfectly, magically, beautifully timed, because we didn't really say, let's wait on a pandemic and then
I know, right?
offer something to get us through it. So, and what I'm really clear about is this time that we have been gifted to go inward, to literally be in our homes and having the time to go inside. We can use this time so well, or we can squander it. We can, it's like what we consume. We can watch, mindless, brainless videos and, I don't know, do video games and, stuff that does not engage. And no judgment for anyone that likes video games, no judgment at all, but it's how we choose to focus, where we choose to focus, and how we use this precious time that is given to us by this beautiful gift of life. So, wow. So thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I mean, this work to me, it plugs me in a way that I feel so gifted. I have such great gratitude that not only have I learned a level of mastery in navigating the maze of the mind through this process, the level of peace that I'm able to sustain as a result of working with these tools. And believe me, it was not an easy process, but part of what I've learned how to do in my own practice, working with others, is be what I wanted, a soft place to land. I mean, it's obviously counterproductive for me to be judgmental in any way, shape, or form, because you only know what you know when you know it, and it's just an egoic aspect that gives you an opportunity to say, ooh, look at that. The clearer that you become, from babysitting your mind and spending the days inventorying the things that you appreciate and tuning in, and also neutralizing those low frequency. It's not about not having those emotions. We talked about that in the very beginning, that you can't control what comes in. And I think it takes about 5 to 6 seconds for you to either start pumping cortisol or pumping DHEA. So what happens when you practice all of these tools, and it doesn't take very long, it takes about, I would say, 6 weeks of consistent practice. And when I say consistent, this comes from you, girlfriend, it's not at 100%. It's at 65 to 75. Go for mediocrity. This is, you're trying to tame the ego that's going to say, throw the baby out with the bathwater. You're doing this wrong. It's never going to work. You have to learn how to just appreciate that's the black wolf. I'm not going to feed it. I'm going to feed the part of me that knows that this is going to take time and I may not want to do it. Actually, you're not going to want to do it. You're going to find a million reasons to not do it. But that's why I have a job, because I literally help people know, one, you're going to experience resistance. Your negativity bias is going to kick in. You're not going to want to do it. And that's okay. Honor that. And honor the fact that if you continue to just manually override, you are doing tools that actually create a buffer in your nervous system. So instead of stimulus response, you have a choice point. And then you say, do I want to deplete my energy or do I want to renew? Not just that, or do I want to keep my peace? You're not whipped around. And not just that, the benefits in relationship. When you maintain a level of coherence and you're at a higher frequency, it supports everybody in your environment. And Heartmath has proven that through their social coherence experiments and animal studies, tree interconnectivity. I mean, it's all there. It's amazing stuff. And so it's been scientifically validated. But what I can tell you is I like me. I didn't like me before because I was so reactive. and I would feel so guilty. And then I would try to justify, well, they did this, so they deserved it. But guess what? I didn't like myself, so wasn't worth it. Integrating these tools, I really respect the way that I approach people. Even if I get triggered, I can do oh, I remember when I used to get triggered by that. Or, oh, I can appreciate that something in their experience, maybe they're fighting ghosts. We have so many cognitive biases that so often we're living in projections and, just neural loops. And we justify behavior based on, again, defending our ego. And it's just because we don't know another way. So this really gives a comprehensive toolkit to go another way, right? And so that's what I have found, that it's transformed my life, and I created a practice around it. I go through the senses, because stress is in your nervous system. You calm down the nervous system. They call it somatic therapy, but again, I go through I make visual, sensory, we do art, but it's art you can't control, so that it's, you're out of your thinking mind. You're just kind of in that creative zone. I bring people back to themselves, who they were before all of the programming and before they turned on themselves, basically, before their inner critic and the negativity bias got so large that they basically just acquiesced, and that became their full-on GPS. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. Wow. It's interesting because that's what I describe. That's the exact phrase that I use when I am doing the work that I do through channeling or spiritual coaching. I say, I'm simply bringing you back to yourself. And that's the beauty of it, because we don't need more people like us. We need more people who are truly authentically in love with themselves, caring for themselves. Because if you truly do love the self of who you are, that will ripple out and blanket the planet in loving energy, which she needs, which we all need. Every human, every animal, every plant, every living being, our living oceans, our everything, needs of love to be at its absolute highest. Delicious.
Love is all there is, girl. Love it. And our mission is to remove anything that blocks it. Kumbaya. Oh, yeah. Right?
Totally. Wow. Well, so hopefully our audience, those who are viewing these sequence of videos, or even maybe just see this one, go back and watch the other ones and educate yourself about it. But Kim, we're going to provide a way for people to get in contact with you, because I cannot recommend you highly enough. Yeah. Just all of the programs and the fact that you come from this very validated and scientifically supported, multi-dimensional and multifaceted approach, I think will appeal. I can't imagine it not appealing to anybody. So, for example, my work doesn't appeal to a great number of people because it's out there. But yours, having you can show all the data, all the science, all the everything about how this works, the neural networking, etc. Even the doubters, the naysayers, this is a good fit. If you would like to amplify your influence through your inner wisdom, your inner knowing, your inner power in the world, then yeah, please do. Please.
I love to help. So, come on. So I do Zoom calls, I do Zoom sessions, putting together a platform where I'm going to have video modules, because I don't know how long we're going to be in this remote space. So I've got a lot of really interesting training programs I'm a part of. I'm always looking to enhance my toolkit. I'm doing some incredible work with Dr. Stephen Porges, who has pioneered polyvagal theory, which directly impacts your heart rate variability. So it's a sound healing protocol, and we're going to be demoing that soon. So I have, again, lots of different things that I love people to experiment and play with. And I just love to share resources. So even if you're just curious and you want to learn more about, me and how I can potentially support you, you know, feel free to reach out, and we can do like an email or whatever, however you want to, you know, put that down. But I'd be happy to have, you know, a chat with anybody who's interested in learning more.
Beautiful. Awesome. And thank you. Thank you, Kim.
Namaste.
Amazing, amazing stuff. Thank you all.
Stephanie.